At Vibe Aesthetics and Wellness, we believe confidence isn't just how you look, it's how you feel. From subtle, natural aesthetics to personalized wellness care, everything we do is intentional. This is beauty with purpose. At Vibe Men's Health, we take that same approach. We focus on what matters most: strength, energy, and performance. Built on real data, real medicine, and real results, we're here to help you look better, feel stronger, and live fully. Come vibe with us today.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Good Monday evening, everybody. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor here for Mississippi Live at 10. And happy to say it's much calmer than where things stood even just a couple of hours ago. Looking at some of those pictures you guys submitted, beautiful shots across North Mississippi of the sunset this evening. This a picture from Sonia showing that sunshine illuminating what was left of that cloud cover. And Caitlin, this is just a sky on fire in the best way possible. I love the glimmer on the vehicles too of the sun just shining bright on the horizon. Nonetheless, it was a beautiful end to the day, or I guess end of the evening, compared to where things stood this afternoon. We were talking storms in particular being impactful, but look at the heat. 100 degrees in Tunica, folks. We've already surpassed that triple-digit point, and these temperatures will just keep climbing. We're 93 in Tupelo and Amory for our afternoon high temperatures, 95 Grenada and Water Valley, 98 all the way up the river until you reach Tunica County. And like we mentioned, Tunica was at the triple-digit point. Temperatures are heating up. That is for sure. If today wasn't warm enough for you, well, by the end of the week, I'm sure it will be. But it's not the only thing heating up. Tropics are following suit. Tropics getting a little bit more active. We'll be looking at the latest on what's going on in the Atlantic coming up in just a moment, but not everything is heating up. Rain chances, they're cooling off, and we're not going to see much of that through the rest of the work week. So if you didn't get rainfall today, well, your chances aren't very good through the rest of the week. So unfortunately, got to break out the watering can for the next several days. The first 12, we can see that limited amount of rainfall that still remains in place by 11, but we're drying up overnight. So if you were impacted by any of the storms today, do not be alarmed. No severe weather is expected tonight, and not even thunderstorms are expected tonight. Not even rainfall is expected tonight. We're going to be clear and sunny for the start of our Tuesday, but temperatures remaining mild and eventually, yes, hot. Heat alerts remain in effect all throughout the Mississippi Delta and up there towards northwest Mississippi. Basically, if you're west of 55, you're under an advisory. But what that means is it's going to have feels-like values of around 105 degrees or higher for at least 2 or more hours. The rest of us, I wouldn't be shocked at all if heat advisories do get extended through the rest of North Mississippi, as those feels-like values are right around that same margin. The only note is, whether you have it or not, you need to prepare and you need to stay safe by staying hydrated and finding ways to stay cool. You saw those morning temperatures. Those aren't too bad. By the afternoon, things are ramping up, so get out early in the day and then take a little cat nap during the afternoon in the AC. Winona, we're 75 degrees. Unfortunately, it looks like that camera is down. A little bit of an active setup through this evening. Might have taken out that coverage, but the reporting station's still active. 75 degrees. Dew point sitting at 73, but it is definitely a mild and muggy pattern through the start of our Tuesday, or at least overnight and into the start of our Tuesday. 75 degrees in Boonville. This is a welcome sight to see. Why? Got the Perseid meteor shower going on. You can see some stars up there in the sky. I'm hopeful. Maybe we get a meteor. Maybe we're lucky. Well, we're nearing the peak of the meteor shower, the Perseid meteor shower. So if you want to get a visual, well, tonight, tomorrow night into your Wednesday, that's when we're going to be watching for some of the peak coverage there. And we have beautiful skies in order to view that. 79 degrees in Cleveland, feeling like 82, an area that didn't receive a ton of rainfall, but a few showers popped up there in the Delta. You can see that coverage about 2 inches there in spots along 61 south of Cleveland. I guess Carroll County, the winter tonight, upwards of 4 inches in spots. So shows how these storms had very little movement to it, and it really racked up the rainfall pretty quickly. Yalobusha County seeing about 2 inches in spots around Water Valley. Down towards Winona, 2 inches. Up there towards Tupelo, about a ½ inch to an inch. But where it was heavy rainfall, there were also some impactful winds and some small hail to report. That in Starkville and up there towards Tupelo. So whether you got rainfall or whether you didn't, you had an impactful forecast either way. Now, getting into those overnight hours and into the start of our Tuesday, we're dry. That 10% chance, honestly, was holding on to something that just is not there anymore as we dry up a lot more compared to where we were earlier this afternoon. You can see there's that 10% just fading away at the 10 o'clock hour, and we're going to be much drier heading into our Tuesday. That being said, watch over there in Talladega over in Alabama. That's where you start to see, one of these storms continue to pop up. If you have a boundary overhead, then that could allow for additional development. The fortunate thing for us, no boundaries to track. The only boundary that we see is up there towards Illinois, Iowa, South Dakota, and over there towards Indiana and Ohio. That's where the active pattern remains. Here in North Mississippi, no severe weather is expected, and we remain not only on the calmer side, but on the drier side getting into the start of our Tuesday. Rain chances really clearing up, if they have not already for you, for the start or by 1 or 2 a.m. on our Tuesday, and will remain dry into the start of our Tuesday morning commute. All the rain chances really peaking more towards Alabama, and while we might see a few wispy clouds in the sky, no clouds that are going to be producing any rainfall for that Tuesday morning commute. 77 Clarksdale, Tunica, and South Haven, 75 Tupelo and Amory, 77 towards Cleveland and Greenville. When you're starting that warm in the day, yeah, just buckle up. It's going to be a pretty toasty forecast for the entirety of that day, and that day being Tuesday for us. So as we track Futurecast out, no rainfall to report, and you still see that southwesterly wind really driving in that moisture and that heat, and that's why we're going to be sitting in the triple digits for feels like values, even by noontime. Probably seeing a few of those start to populate in, but definitely by 3 as we reach that 105-degree threshold, and making sense why those heat advisories remain in effect. Rain chances pushing more towards Alabama. So here in North Mississippi, our story is no longer rain. We have turned the page, and that next chapter is going to be toasty. 94 Corinth for your afternoon high temperatures on your Tuesday. Same thing, Senatobia and Water Valley. 96 Belzona, 98 Greenville. Now, our normal is 92. Record 106. I think that 1935 record will hold. Let me take out the think. I know that 1935 record will hold, but we're only about 8 degrees away, and that's just crazy to think about. And those feels like values, well, it's making it feel like some record heat, and fortunately for us, these aren't the actual temperatures. Unfortunately for us, we still have to feel it and deal with it for those afternoon plans. So if we know any coaches that are planning any practices tomorrow, might want to remind them about that wet bulb globe temperature to check that, because some dangerous heat is on the horizon. And I know as we try to prepare for those Friday night lights, well, we might have to move practice a little bit later in the day, or maybe go before school even starts. It's been a while since I've been in high school, so I don't know how those practices go anymore. But I remember waking up sometimes at like 5 a.m. to get to school just so you could get a weight lift in, or so you could beat the heat. I mean, I was in Alabama, so similar forecast to what we're getting here in North Mississippi. So overnight and into the start of our Wednesday, no clouds to report. And this is what I'm talking about. The viewing conditions for the meteor shower are going to be phenomenal. So get out there and try to see if you can spot any meteors. And if you do, send it in to us through the Mississippi Live Weather app. We will feature those photos for sure. And I'm going to ooh and ah at it here behind the scenes, because I love me a good meteor shower. As we get into that Wednesday morning commute, continue to stay clear and dry. It is going to be a great start to our Wednesday. But it is going to be that wall of stickiness as you head out the door, where you get hit with it and you immediately start sweating. Yeah, that type forecast, we're in for that once again Wednesday morning. The earlier you start the day, the cooler those temperatures are, but as the day goes on, they ramp up quick. As we track Futurecast out, no rainfall to report on our Wednesday, still getting that southwesterly flow, so keeping similar temperatures around. And as we get more towards the afternoon, peak heating of the afternoon, rain chances bubbling up out there towards North Alabama, just about 20 to 30 miles away from us here in North Mississippi, but never fully moving into our area, and not expecting it to, as those chances remain very, very minimal, and the heat remains very, very high. So getting into those evening plans, no dodging any rainfall, but definitely preparing for the heat. We're going to be in the mid to upper 90s, with 98 showing up in Clarksdale, 97 Tunica and Cleveland, 100 degrees in Greenville. And that's just Wednesday. By Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you'll just have to see those temperatures. But let me tell you, it's even higher than that. Feels like values getting up around 111 degrees in Clarksdale, 109 Tunica. Probably seeing some extreme heat warnings be issued over there towards northwest Mississippi. The rest of us probably under those heat advisories, but that'll remain to be seen as we get into the next 24 hours and approach our Wednesday. So just prepare. Heat is going to be the story. But I told you, Thursday, 96, Friday, 97, but look at the weekend. 98 Saturday, 99 Sunday, and then 98 towards Monday. So if you do not have ways to beat the heat, Well, this is the time to prepare, and that includes staying hydrated. That includes taking frequent breaks. I told you to start the day early or start the day late. Not start the day, but I guess enjoy those afternoon plans later in the day, because otherwise you're going to be really bumming in the heat. Even today, mowing my yard around lunchtime, I could feel that heat start to weigh down on me, and that was just lunch. That wasn't even the peak heating of the day yet. And these aren't even the highest temperatures we will see all week long. Monday, actually some of the coolest temperatures we'll see over this 7-day stretch. So while you can get the outdoor plans done, there's a correct way to do it, and we want folks to stay safe and stay prepared and stay alert. We're going to continue to go over the heat in much more detail coming up in a little bit. We're also going to be tracking the tropics, those heating up as well. But coming up in the next 60 seconds, our Emily Leonard joins us with what's happening in your area. Stay tuned here in the next 60.
Every legend starts somewhere.
Not with perfection, but with the decision.
The decision to show up, work harder, and believe this place can change everything.
At Northeast, you're more than just a number.
We're built on opportunity, and our students are willing to rise to the occasion.
Here, success isn't handed to you. It's earned.
You don't just leave with a degree, you leave as a legend.
Reserve your St. Jude Dream Home giveaway ticket by August 28th, and you'll be eligible to win the house and the bonus prize, a 2026 Polar Ranger, courtesy of Dream Day Foundation. Visit dreamhome.org or call 1-800-456-8351 to reserve your ticket today.
There are moments in life when we don't act based on who someone loves, where they're from, or what they believe, because the things that make us different will never change. What makes us human.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on Mississippi Live. I hope you've had a great day. I'm Emily Leonard. 2 school districts want more of your tax money. The Columbus Municipal School District is asking for about $418,000 more. Lowndes County wants just over $1 million more. Now, here's the part that really matters. If you're in Columbus, your school tax bill stays flat. Rising property values are covering their increase for you. If you're in Lowndes County, you'll pay a little more, about $1.40 extra per year for every $100,000 your home is worth. Lowndes County School Superintendent Sam Allison credits New Industry for keeping that increase pretty small. CMSD's board will vote on its budget this week. Lowndes County's board will vote on August 14th. The former assistant police chief in Okolona pleaded guilty to embezzlement in Calhoun County courtroom today. Deputies arrested Sherry Harden back in April and charged her with 1 count of embezzlement. Monday, though, she pleaded guilty to that charge, and now she's on probation for 5 years. Sources tell Mississippi Live she allegedly failed to return guns owned by the police department. Ackerman residents, you will head to the polls tomorrow to decide on a 2% food and beverage tax. Money raised by the tax will be used for the Parks and Recreation Department, and that does include a new sportsplex. This is the second time for this particular referendum to go to a vote. Back in June, the issue showed very strong support, but it fell by 2. Count them 2 votes. That was short of the necessary 60% to pass. Tuesday, voters can cast their ballots from 7 in the morning to 7 at night at the town hall down on Main Street. So when you hit a milestone or an anniversary like 10 years, you really want to bring in something big. So on this 10th anniversary of the Ignite Leadership Conference, the CDF announced the conference will feature none other than renowned leadership expert and best-selling author John Maxwell, internationally recognized executive coach, best-selling author, and leadership expert Valerie Burton, along with Mark Cole, former CEO of Maxwell Leadership. Now, I said you want to bring in the big dogs, right? Talk about big. John Maxwell has written more than 90 books. 90, you guys. And he's sold more than 38 million copies worldwide just on leadership. He's a #1 New York Times bestseller, #1 Wall Street Journal bestseller. So you guys, I think he might know a thing or two about leadership. Burton is known for her work in resilience, purpose, and confident leadership, while Cole has helped helped organizations around the world develop stronger leaders and healthier workplace cultures. So it is quite the lineup, and this conference always sells out. Set your calendars January 21st, but you can get your tickets right now. And as I said, they go really fast. Go to igniteleadership.com and get your tickets. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here on Mississippi Live. I'm Emily Leonard, and have a great night.
Dust off your favorite shotgun and sign up for the Natchez Trace Council Clay Classic. Call 662-842-2871 or visit natcheztracecouncil.org.
Friday, August 21st, don't miss the Tupelo Super Show benefiting St. Jude, featuring the legends of Memphis Wrestling. Reserve your seat right now at memphiswrestling.tv.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
So the tropics are heating up, something we talked about at the start of the show and something we covered this evening. Well, now already seeing a shift, and that's a shift in a higher confidence. 30% chance of development over the next 2 days, 70% over the next 7. And we're talking about this red one here. You notice how it changes to a red color once you get to 70% or higher. So that's why the change in the shade of color and also the up in the number, the up in the percentage. And that's a system that we do expect to get a little bit more interesting as we get in the next couple of days. We'll track it out in just a moment, so bear with me. I do want to talk about the other outlooks that we do have, and this is one that's right in the same realm as the red one, the 70% a moment ago, that other disturbance. But this one only has a 10% chance of development over the next 2, 10% over the next 7. It almost seems like this other disturbance is going to overtake it, and then this one will become the more interesting one, as we'll see in just a moment. But either way, still a disturbance that we'll keep an eye on. And as we look more towards the northeast, this disturbance having a similar chance of development, 10% over the next 2, 10% over the next 7. Not concerned about it, as it is going more towards the northeast, meaning it's going away from the United States and away from us here in North Mississippi. So not going to impact us, and honestly not expecting either of these other two systems to impact us either. I'll clear out of the way, and you can see how this starts to have that counterclockwise rotation off the African coastline and will gradually work its way through the Atlantic, getting a little bit more interesting, and this could very well become our next named storm. And as that will continue to move across the Atlantic, you can see just how interesting it does get by Thursday 6 p.m. starting to get that motion a little bit more apparent, and the movement on this storm gets a little bit higher as well as it starts to gain some speed and gain some stronger wind gusts, that's where it could potentially become our next named storm. But as it continues to move through the Atlantic, and let me stand on this side so you can get a visual of the storm's position compared to the United States, it does stay well off here in the Atlantic Ocean. Why? Well, it looks like we have an upper level system there. We have that trough that's starting to move in, and with that trough comes this frontal boundary, and this basically pushes it back out into the Atlantic. And this is you talk about Mississippi being a brick wall. Here's our brick wall in the Atlantic, blocking it from going any further west and preventing it from entering anywhere closer to North Mississippi. Now, the storm still does get pretty tight. I mean, that's a pretty decent storm, but it's what we call a fish storm, meaning it stays in the ocean, and that's all that's impacted is the fish out in the Atlantic. Here in the United States, it doesn't get anywhere close to us, not even enough for some of those bands to bring some impacts, and by then it starts to move off there towards the north and east, allowing that trough to take it up away from us. And still, some stronger winds, but fortunately for us, not going to be impactful for us in the United States. Nevertheless, us here in North Mississippi as we go through the next week and a half. This is Thursday, not this coming Thursday. It's a Thursday past that Thursday. So we're going to continue to keep eyes on it. Any shift in the position we'll let you guys know about, but as of what we're seeing right now, not really concerned. And we're not concerned about rainfall really for the next 24 hours. Heat will be our big story, as that sunshine is going to be apparent from start to finish, warming up those temperatures. We're going to be topping out around 94 degrees for those afternoon high temperatures. By the late evening hours, perhaps a pop-up shower But those are going to be far from severe limits, fortunately. Maybe a brief heavy downpour, but that's really the max impact that we will see with that setup. I want to pull up the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. I do see, well, I have to break out what condition do the models? Oh, I'm going to have to break out the Spanish. For those that don't know, I went to school and I got a Spanish minor. So, I could probably have a conversation with like a kindergarten Spanish speaker, but I am a little bit rusty. So, I didn't know what desarrollo are. And the zone of the Atlantic in America, more than... Oh, I'm about to study this behind the scenes. Just you wait. Appreciate you guys for joining us from Metallic County. I see that, Jason. I can read that. I know howdy for sure. And Diane, I'm sure you're talking about the temperatures, and G's is exactly right because things are heating up in a big way. And while it's dry and it's going to be sunny, it's not going to feel the best. And unfortunately, we do have to continue to deal with that as we go over the next several days. So stay hydrated, stay safe, stay cool, everything you can do to stay safe. I do see, so that's Raul talking about the Atlantic. I do know, talking about the 60% chance of development, not going to be impacting Puerto Rico. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, not going to be impacting Puerto Rico. It's going to be staying well off towards the Atlantic Ocean, so never fully reaching us here in the Americas. That includes Puerto Rico there in the Gulf. So that's a positive. I believe that's what I'm answering there. So, like I said, studying up on Spanish. I'll have to break out the Duolingo and get back on the grind. I know my professors back at State are not proud of me. I'll be better, guys, I promise. Either way, as we wrap up the night, it is a school night, so it's good that studying is on the mind. So go ahead and have that Mississippi Live Weather app handy. You can study up on all things weather. I'm sure your science teachers will appreciate that. I know Miss Maynor will for all of her students out there. So download the app, like, subscribe, and follow on all of our socials. And if you have any pictures to send in of what happened today or of the meteor showers over the next couple of days, send that in through the app as well. Our meteorologist Maggie McCauley going to be live at 6:30, 7, and 7:30 right here from the Mississippi Live Weather Center. So keep it here for the very latest, and everyone have a terrific Tuesday.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. We knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lopon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lopon has proven himself trustworthy.